That's lolly. Hang on.
Is it? Wait.
Oh.
Meat lolly.
Was that cheese lolly?
Why does his lolly taste of Dairy Lee? Hello, welcome to 2 Pints with Will and Ralf, episode 16, series 5.
And listen, I have to say this, sorry to tell you, but this is the last episode in this season.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up and we're going to have a few months off while me and Ralf go off and make some television.
Yeah.
You know, go do some more filming.
Before we go any further, very important question. What is that?
What?
That thing that you've been fucking making over the last few episodes. You've been farting around with that
made
thing.
a little witch's hat out of blue tack. Do you know what? It's so true that I don't know what it is, but like at school, I used to always get "don't doodle" written on my work because it was always drawings of crap at the side of my maths book.
But you're a very good drawer.
I'm crap at drawing.
It's not even like I was creatively expressing myself
if there's a
artistically.
bit of blue tack there, I made a witch's hat out of it.
How many what was your doodle of choice? I'm cock and balls, classic.
No, I didn't go down that route.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody used to draw a cock and balls.
Fist. It was a fist. No,
hold on.
No.
You didn't go that route. You went straight in there instead. Yeah, cock and balls is kindergarten stuff.
No, I went straight to fisting.
No.
It was a fist like it was coming out of the paper. And it had fist written on the knuckles. And
Wait, it said fist on it in case it wasn't clear from the drawing.
the fist had little blood bits coming down. Do you know what? It wasn't even mine. Someone else did it, and I copied it. And
You even copied.
And I used to do it as a tattoo at school for people. I used to do it on people's arms in bed.
Instead of copying someone's homework, you were copying someone's doodle and still getting in trouble for it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Make sure the camera gets a good look at your little witch's hat.
Yeah, there you go.
Put it up by your face. There you go.
The little witch's hat. See? So I made out of blue tack.
Oh, it's so nice. It's nice to come and sort of feel like a carer for the day.
Didn't you used to ever watch Heartbeat when you were a kid?
Oh, loved
Tony
it.
Hart.
Yeah.
Do you remember that bit when the drawings would come on and they'd go, "This was drawn by Gordon, age 6," and you'd be like, "You lying bastard!"
I know. I'd be like, I'm 6 and I can draw. I'm not talented, but I like drawing.
Exactly.
There's not a fucking chance Gordon's 6. He's done a huge landscape.
It's unbelievable.
I just did this with pencil and a couple of crayons. Bollocks,
Gordon
Gordon.
6 does Saddleworth at night. Get over the moors. Load of crap.
Yeah. Right.
What's happened with my plums?
I've got Plum news.
Oh, you got plum news?
I've got Plum news.
They're still there. Really wrinkly.
Those of you who've been listening and following along will know that we submitted Will's plums to Sotheby's and we have an official reply.
Go on then. How much are they worth?
They have officially declined the offer to even attempt to sell them or engage in any way with any further mention of them.
So basically they're saying, stop harassing us. Leave us alone. We don't want to sell you plums.
We've seen through your charade. This is obviously some bullshit stunt. Please stop sending your taped plums.
How is it a bullshit stunt? What is the difference between
a banana gaffer tape to a wall?
What is the difference between a bloke who gaffer taped a banana to a wall that sold for stupid millions to my plum stuck to a board?
I know.
Please tell me, because I don't know. That's the problem with art.
I got a bit more information about the banana though. It's not as much of a rip-off as you think. Because you know how he ate the banana after he paid for it? Well, apparently you can replace the banana and the piece that still holds its value. So there you go.
Don't talk out of your ass.
That's what I read.
This is what annoys me about art. It's. You know
Well,
what?
why are they saying no? Why?
Why?
How snobbish is that?
It's snobbish. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
They're up their own arses.
Elitist bullshit. What's wrong with Will's plums? We did get a bid for a tenner from a listener, and they're still here, just about still here, a little bit wrinkly, starting to smell a little bit.
Yeah, well,
bit
you
fusty.
can have them for a tenner, and I'll donate that to my charity when you wish upon a star. There you go.
All right. So who was it? Right.
We'll find him.
We'll find
out who you are, and you can have these plums for a tenner.
Well, I tell you what. We'll give it a week after this. If anyone wants to up the bid from a tenner, then we'll donate the money to a charity. The charity that When You Wish Upon a Star. When You Wish Upon a Star, and we'll donate it to that. So that's a tenner. Yeah. Thank you for your plums.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
But I feel like we've had to admit defeat. We've had quite a few comments on YouTube
about what?
Supporting me.
What's happened now?
Supporting in my hour of need, agreeing with me that Gremlins is shite.
Right.
But the Gremlins 2 is a much better film.
And what? Hang on. What happened in Gremlins 2?
Okay. You don't remember this? I had a whole rant about it. I can start again if you like.
No, don't start again. Jesus Christ.
So all the reasons I hated Gremlins, none of it hung together. But it was like, Gremlins didn't know what it was. Was it a comedy? Was it silly? Was it a horror? Was it supposed to be scary?
It was an 80s film. It didn't matter.
Yeah, well, exactly,
Kitsch.
right. Gremlins 2
weird.
fully just embraced the fact that they're like, let's just make a silly film. Let's just make it comedy silliness.
The first one.
That's why Gremlins 2 is a better film. Gremlins is totally tonally all over the place, and you go, I don't know what I'm watching here. What do they want?
It and went, what's the tone of
Me
this?
when I was 6.
I didn't.
Yeah, well,
Bollocks.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the difference between me and you.
They're making a new Gremlins.
And they're making a new Gremlins. They're making a Gremlins 3. They're going to make a new Goonies. Was it you that was telling me that you tried to get your kids to watch the Goonies and they were not asked?
No, they watched the Goonies. I forced them to watch 80s and 90s films when they were kids. I just was like, Ghostbusters, Goonies, Rocky, and again Rocky. I've just made my son watch Rocky again the other night. I
bet you did. 27 times.
All the kids' films, you know what I mean? Made them watch, apart from Stand By Me, which is quite horrific.
Yeah, when you look back
really
now, you're like,
dark.
that's a very dark film.
But yeah, all the old classics. But I mean, I'm surprised they're bringing back Gremlins 3. I mean, it's been a long time.
Well, Gremlins 2, maybe they were listening to me and they've gone, he's right, Gremlins 2 was better.
But the Goonies, are they going to be at their age now, or is it
Can you imagine
a new cast?
Josh Brolin turning up going, I'm one of the Goonies. Let's get out there and see if we can find some treasure. Are you okay, Grandad?
Pints
I'll be fine.
He just won an Oscar.
I know.
So I wonder if it's a new cast.
That kid in the Goonies who played Chunk,
yeah,
who I don't think acted after that. Not as far as I know. Maybe he did.
He was great in it.
But I saw Gremlins a few years ago, and I was like, we've had conversations recently about child actors and how good they were, and you were saying the Champ,
yes,
right, and how brilliant he was.
Unbelievable.
We talked about Henry. I can't remember his name.
Him who was in E.T. Yeah, the audition tape.
Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense was a fabulous child actor.
He stopped acting?
No, he was in The Boys.
Oh, yes, he was.
He was in The Boys, yeah.
Yes, he was.
So he was fantastic. Dakota Fanning back in the day was just...
Man on Fire, she's fantastic in that.
Unbelievable actor.
Man on Fire.
But what they all do, pretty much all of them did, was be this incredibly sensitive, serious acting, and they were amazing at it. The kid who played Chunk in The Goonies, I watched it again recently. Well, relatively recently. And there's a bit where he comes out of he's escaped. They've gone, go and find help, go and find help.
Yeah.
And he emerges from a hatch and he's in the woods and he's like, I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. And he's hilarious. And then he gets out and he's running through the woods and he immediately goes, but I hate nature. I hate nature. And I laughed out loud and I was like, that kid is a comic genius.
Yeah.
Genius. And as far as I know, never acted again.
I think Spielberg had a way of finding great, talented kids and getting the best out of them. I mean, he's just a genius with that kind of stuff.
Then sacked them off when they became adults.
Do you know what I was going to say as well? There's a lot of young actors who went through difficult times. I tell you, remember her from E.T. What's she called? She's still acting now.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. Didn't she have a real tough time growing up?
I think... Yes, I mean, that machine can chew you up and spit you out, can't it? Because it fucks with your sense of identity, sense of safety, primary caregivers, all that kind of thing.
How many child superstars have come out mentally well? I mean, Britney Spears, we know what she's been through. Michael Jackson, look at the state of him. I mean, he was all over the gaff mentally. But I've seen this clip, and I want to play it to you because I want you to know. I want your opinion on what this sounds like. And this is Ariana Grande.
Oh, wait, hold on, wait. Who?
Ariana?
Did you say areola grande, as in a part of the anatomy of a nipple?
Right. So people, it's strange that she says this in an interview, and quite openly admits it. Listen to this.
You know what? They did the Brighter Days memory erasure treatment to me, so I'm having trouble remembering the details. They're foggy because at the Brighter Days clinic they do the memory erasure, you know? The memory erasure, they erase my memories. It's a little foggy, but if you know what?
Wait, what?
She just talked about a clinic.
What?
Where they have erased her memory. It's a trauma.
Is that not an episode of Black Mirror?
No. She's doing an interview. She says it's a bit foggy because, at the, is it Everyday Clinic? What did she say? The
Welcome to Brighter Days Clinic.
Brighter Days Clinic.
We work beyond the surface, guiding individuals through cognitive recalibration and subconscious reframing to break away from the silent agreements they never realised they made.
There you go.
I mean, does it not sound like brainwashing to you?
Exactly. And she said it's a bit foggy because, the Bright Days Clinic, they rearrange your memory. And I was like, should you be saying that? I mean, is that trauma? Has she been through trauma and they've recalibrated her brain? Because that's not going to be good for you,
well,
surely.
Let's just say this. I'm not a mental health expert. I accept that before I start. But for what
it just sounds strange to me.
For what it's worth, my understanding of how you deal with trauma and difficult things is, and there's lots of different schools of thought, but I think the one I'm most familiar with is the idea that you go, let's investigate something, confront it, name it, try and process it. So that there was a guy when we did the hostile environment training on our TV show. Yeah, he was a therapist, and I was talking to him about some fascinating stuff, and he said it's like when you've suppressed something and created a wall around it, that becomes like incredibly powerful, but it never goes away. And so what happens is it becomes like you can almost like you can't revisit. You have to pretend it's sort of not there, and that's a survival mechanism, and it's very. But not always, but very often, at some point in your life, it's going to leak out in some way. It might usually affect your interpersonal relationships in some way, or your behavior towards yourself. And the way to deal with that is to take something that is a traumatic idea or something that you feel like deeply in your body, to investigate it and turn it into a bad memory. Right. It's never going to not be there, but there's a difference between going, oh, that's a bad memory, and going, this is something that affects my body and the way I act and the way I am. And that's what he was talking about, which is all a long way of saying they sound like they're talking about memory suppression at this clinic.
I don't understand.
And it sounds very
It's a
strange.
real thing.
Well, and clearly.
She's been on the worldwide news talking about it, and even the report was like, what? So, the memory erasure clinic.
Yeah, there's the way she said it. She was like, no, Brighter Days. And it's like, so I can't really, what was he asked her that she couldn't remember?
I can't remember. It was something. Well,
why? Have you been at Brighter Days?
What? You think they went to school there? It's got brain recalibrated every day.
Mella, go and sit in the corner of your headphones. Sorry, sir, I've been at Brighter Days. Can't remember a damn thing.
Not a clue. But it's just, I found it fascinating that she was so open to talk about it, and I found it quite shocking that. And I was thinking, is it?
Right, so hold on. We need to just. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we've taken this because we need to take a moment here. About the Ariana Grande clip, the Brighter Days Clinic and all this. So about the
Areola Grande.
Yeah. About the appendix grande. So it's not real.
How do you know?
Is the long and short of it. Unless it is real, but they've erased my memory and implanted an idea that it.
What do you mean?
The clinic.
What clinic?
What?
What are you talking about?
Right. Okay. So she was doing an interview on the red carpet. Mm-hmm. The reporter from Variety asked her to reveal details about the deluxe edition of her 2024 album, Eternal Sunshine. Now, obviously, there's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Jim Carrey, you've seen it, right? That's all about memory erasure and all that.
Right.
Being the media-trained jokester Ariana, you've got me doing it now, Ariana is.
Raviola.
She decided to dodge the question by giving a tongue-in-cheek answer about the Brighter Days memory erasure treatment, which is the premise of one of her music videos and, crucially, not a real thing.
That didn't look like she was tongue-in-cheek.
She's an actor.
No.
Right.
Listen, I tell you what, out there, make your own opinion, because apparently this Brighter Days thing might have been set up to support the movie that she's funding or something. It's all a bit grey. It's a grey area. But that clip's out there. Have a look at it because it looked real to me.
Well, hold on. All right.
What?
It's not a grey area.
Oh!
It's not a grey area. There's definitely grey areas and things in life, and we should talk about them. But her making a joke about a Brighter Days clinic.
It didn't look like a joke, did it?
Well, that's why it was a good joke.
It's not a good joke, because it made people talk about it. Oh, right, yeah. See what you're doing.
Here we are. Yeah, we've nearly fallen. I mean, I don't mind talking about it and going, good for her, good joke. But I'm glad we did. I'm glad we didn't fall into the trap.
She said they did the memory erasure on me.
I'm glad we didn't fall into the trap.
Not a joke.
I'm glad we didn't fall into the trap, which you seem desperate for us to fall into, of going, oh my God, there's a memory eraser. No, there isn't. It was a joke. She's promoting her album. She's being funny. No. She's being cleverly media trained. Wow. And my God, it's working because everyone's talking about it and some idiots are thinking it's true.
Like me?
I meant one idiot specifically.
Well, it looked real, and she sounded real.
I've got to admit, when you first said it to me, I was like, oh my God. And I looked at, and there is a website, Brighter Days Clinic, and it's a blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But it seems like, no, okay. It's all I think. But I will say this to you. What? If it comes back around and there actually is a Brighter Days Clinic and they're doing this sort of stuff and it's brainwashing or whatever, if that's happening, then I will eat my words.
Good.
And I will play this game instead of making you play it.
What?
I think because it's our final episode, we should relive some of our highlights.
What are we doing now? I'm not doing the licking the soap and shite.
Play lolly soap.
It's pissing hell. Why?
Because you still think that Ariana Grande has been memory erased, and that we didn't go to the moon.
Well,
and that ghosts are real.
Why have I got to play Lolly and Sick? What's it called?
Lolly and Sick.
What's it called? Because it makes me feel sick.
We'll do one little round. Which hand do you want?
Bollocks, Ralf.
Which hand do you want? Or I tell you what.
What?
Instead of this, what if you close your eyes and stick your tongue out and?
As if you're going to wipe my tongue with the lolly. Ooh, I wonder what you're going to wipe my tongue with.
To be honest, you'd be lucky to get away with soap.
That's lolly. Hang on.
Is it? Wait.
Oh.
Meat lolly.
Was that cheese lolly?
Why does this lolly taste of Dairy Lee?
Taste a bit cheese hammy.
Oh, fuck
We've really grown up in this series.
Oh, yeah, no, this is the series where we've really become mature men. Right, you ready?
I'll tell you what, we'll play it in a minute, because I want to talk about something.
Right,
we'll finish it.
I'll put these away.
We'll finish
with a highlight.
Walking around with lollies and soap in your pocket like a weird bleeding child snatcher.
That's a bit weird, isn't it?
I'm going to wash you, and I'm going to give you a lolly. Well, what did I want to talk about? This is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to talk about with you. I've known you a long time, right? And I know, like me, you started sort of acting early, sort of doing... Yeah. Did you ever do any normal, what you class as normal work?
No. Yes.
So what did you do?
I had two normal jobs.
Go on then.
I did one for 2 weeks and went, fuck this. This is awful.
What did you do?
So when I was 18, we filmed the first Royal Family and it had come out, but there was a few months before the gears of reality sort of clicked into place where I was
to earn some money.
Yeah, where I was a bit in limbo and it wasn't like, suddenly like I had to be being brought in for auditions and actually be able to. So I was all right because I'd saved some money. I was going to be okay for a little while. But I had a girlfriend at the time. I was 18. She was 16. And she was 17, and she worked as a waitress at the local Brewers Fair. Right. And basically for moral support, because I was bored during the day when she was at work, she said, oh, it's fine. I said, all right, I'll get a job at the Brewers Fair. I'll work behind the bar / waiter. And I was a waiter for 2 weeks at the Brewers Fair. Right. And I hated it. Doing a real job sucks, man. It sucks. From the moment I arrived, I was like, when does this shift finish? Right. And I was like, it's like a 4-hour shift. 2 minutes in, I was like, I can't do this any longer. And when I say 2 weeks, I don't mean I was in every day. I did a total of 3.5 days. Right. Here's a weird thing though. I'll never forget this. Like it was something like £3 an hour. Like
that's quite good.
And this was 1998. So you're working hard and it's tough being a waiter and whatever. And £3 an hour, 4 hours, 12 quid. You're going home with 12 quid. And there was a lad who was working with me, and he'd finish his work and he'd go, oh, that was a long shift. Then he'd sit down at the bar, buy a beer, and get on the fruit machine.
And spend all his dough.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, it didn't look like he was addicted to the fruit machine. It didn't look like it was like a problem, but it was just like, he took all the money and then put it straight back into the pub. Mm. Just a couple of pints, fruit machine, and then home. And I was thinking like, could have just stayed at home for the last 4 hours and broke even and had a much nicer time. I always remembered that as being a weird thing. So I did that and I hated it. And then she said, well, I'm getting a second job, because she was a grafter and I wasn't. She said, I'm getting a second job. I'm going to work at the Reebok Stadium, Bolton Wanderers.
Right.
And she said, will you come with me for moral support? I said, well, I hated the last one, but maybe this will be more fun. So I went and I did 2 home games as a barman in the Players' Lounge at the Reebok Stadium. Cool. Well, you'd have thought it was cool, but I'll tell you this. Premier League footballers don't tip.
You got no tips?
don't tip. I got one. Occasionally, I'd get like, round that up. Someone's paid 95p for a glass of Coke, and they'd go, just give us a. So I get 5p. Very occasionally, I'd get a quid. Once, do you remember Mark Fish? He used to play for South Africa.
No.
Mark Fish played for Bolton. He used to play for South Africa, and his missus, Louis Fish. She was, she'd walk in and, you're young, I'm 18.
God, she wasn't called Stinks Off.
That was a middle name. Which was weird because Fish wasn't even a maiden name. So if she was called Louis Stinks of Smith, that would have been so bizarre. Right. So and I remember, when you're 18 and and the world's quite small to you, like I'd not really been out of Bolton that much. And I mean, I had filmed or whatever, but like you've got your own sort of pool of people that you know.
Yeah.
Louis Fish came in, glamorous. She was very, very sort of smart. She was a wag before wags were a thing. I mean, I guess posh spice was right, but like wags, the term that hadn't been coined as a term. And like she came in, everyone was like, Louis Fish is coming in. Oh my God, she's so beautiful and everything. And she was really sound and really cool. And she would come in and she chatted to me for 5 minutes, little 18-year-old me behind the bar, really nice. And the next home game, chatted to me for 5 minutes behind the bar, tipped me 20 quid.
What?
Tipped me 20 quid.
And you never forgot it?
And I've never forgotten it. And what was weird during that time was that the royal family had come out at this point, and it felt very awkward working behind that bar. And
did they recognise you?
Occasionally, very occasionally, I got recognised.
Good as a drink there, Luke.
Yeah, and it was a little bit like, immediately, and this is this weird thing that you and I have talked about when people go, God, why aren't you working anymore? It's like, from 18 years old, I'm working behind a bar. I've come in and everyone's like, oh, this is the biggest show on TV. And it's like, oh, why are you working behind? And not that I wasn't embarrassed to be doing a very honest job, but when people come and ask you in that tone, like, oh, why are you such a failure? That's what it felt like. Yeah. That was a weird time. Anyway, years and years later, I bumped into Mark Fish and Louis Fish at some do with a load of like ex-pro footballers or whatever. It's some I can't remember. It was like the PFA Awards or something, but it wasn't that, but something like that. And I was chatting to Mark Fish, and he goes, I remember you used to work in the Players Bar. And I was like, oh my God, do you?
Really?
And I don't think that they clocked who I was at that time, but I think probably some people remembered and then it got around. Yeah. And then he said, oh, my wife would love to speak to you. And he's like, Louis. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to see Louis Fish again. This is probably 15 years later. Wow. And she came up and she was like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I followed your career. It's so proud. You were such a lovely lad back then. Wow. And she was really, really sad. And it's just one, I wish there's a funny like anecdote, like, and then I banged her. But like, but there isn't. Like, she was just a very...
Give her a 20 quid back. You need this.
Well, yeah, but do you know what I mean? It's like, that was massive to me. That was more than my day's wages by a mile.
Yeah.
And it was massive. And she just was like...
Yeah.
I can't remember what we talked about, but maybe I think I possibly said at the time, I was like, I'm thinking about going to medical school, but I'm also in this, because she was asking me. Right. And she was like, good luck to you and get it. And I never forgot it. And what a lovely gesture for no apparent reason. And not one other Premier League footballer, well, they weren't Premier League at the time, Championship, but nobody tipped.
They're the only jobs you did other than acting?
Oh, and I only did 2 home games.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah. So I worked at the Reebok Stadium for 2 games. And went, fuck this. Yeah. And I worked at the Brewers Fair for 3 days. Yeah. And I've never done a real job other than that.
Right. I think
and I only did those as moral support for my girlfriend, and I was like, fucking, you're on your own, love.
I think that's the reason why we do what we do in the industry, and we're lucky to be successful in what we do. But I was the same. I just thought, I can't see myself doing a proper job, you know what I mean? I just couldn't do it. I mean, I did roofing for a while with my brother-in-law, which I loved, because when they went for lunch, I used to be on the roof with the nail belt, and all the kids would come out for, like the young girls, and they'd all be like, hey, and I'd be like pretending to be a man roofing with me nails in my mouth.
Not actually knowing what you were doing. Not even hitting a nail.
I was only there to carry up the slates to the roof, but when they left their belts on, I put them on like I was a trained tiler, so I looked like I knew what I was doing.
What a dick.
I know, proper dick.
But let's think about that for a second, because I get it. I 100% get it.
I was like, I'm a real man here.
But what, about 17. Looking back now, what an embarrassingly bad flex that is. I know. Like, I'll tell you what the girls are going to love. Watch me put on a tool belt and pretend to hammer a nail. It's like, how sad were we?
I know.
What losers we were.
Mate, I worked in a factory, a shrink wrapping factory, where I used to pick goods off the shelf. An order would come through, so it would be like a wholesaler. So if they needed like big litres of Fairy Liquid and disintergent.
Disintergent?
Disintergent.
Yeah, sure.
What detergent?
Yep.
I mean, yeah. And
Ariel Grande uses disintergent.
She used to work there. So we'd sit there, and then you have this big warehouse, and then you'd have to pick the order, put it on a pallet, like with a forklift truck, which I wasn't allowed to drive, which was the best bit.
Of course.
Put the pallet down, and then I would run around this pallet with both my fingers stuck in the end of some cling film,
wrap them.
and wrapping it, burn the shit out of your fingers, and you got paid monthly. So I couldn't leave until the first month was over.
Oh, no.
I was on £100 a week, and I would run around this pallet, right, do it, and then another order come in. You'd be there from 8 in the morning till 5 at night. As soon as I got paid, that was it.
Gone.
I am
gone.
They said, yeah, what time you pick him up Monday? I went, I've been paid. I am never coming back. That's it.
I'll tell you what I did do that I don't class it as an official job, but my girlfriend back in those days, when I was 18, my girlfriend at the time, her dad was quite a wealthy guy, self-made businessman from selling Christmas trees.
Oh,
which if you think about it,
very seasonal.
Well, it sounds sort of, what a cute, but is there a lot of money in that? Yeah, literally everybody has one.
Loads of people do.
Everybody in the country has one. And he spotted this years previously and, bought them in by bulk and then sold them and blah, blah, blah.
Real ones?
Yeah. And then bought a farm and loads of land in Scotland. And he was a clever man. Wow. So he sold Christmas trees, but they would sell them wholesale to garden centres and whatever, and then the spare ones that he had, he'd sort of hire a field nearby in Bolton, and people could come and just pick a Christmas tree. But he needed a group of lads to, carry them, fetch them, bag them up, put them through the net and all that kind of thing. And because I was sort of mooching at their house quite a bit because I was new girlfriend, it kind of felt like I needed to go, I'll come and help. I didn't want to because I'm lazy, but I was like, I'll come and help. So for like literally a week leading up to Christmas, I did this Christmas tree thing. And that was quite, I thought of it because you talked about the roof. I hated being behind a bar. I hated doing that. That was kind of more fun. And it was more fun because of the banter. Yeah. It was like, six, and all much older than me, or like in their late 20s or whatever, but like just the piss taking. It reminds me now of like what football banter's like when you're in a changing room, but like just the piss taking and the little pranks that you played on each other. That was kind of fun. Yeah. And like when you said you were a roofer, maybe that was kind of. Well, I was
only a labourer. I made the coffee and the tea and I carried the slates up on my shoulder and did what they told me to do. But I remember they used to finish work at like 2 PM and just go to the pub. Yeah. And I was like, should we stay? No, we're done there.
Yeah, should we not finish the roof?
Isn't
it going to rain?
No, if it's one drop of rain off the roof. We'll be in the pub, and then that's when I met all the old blokes in the pub and watched them playing cards, and it was just unbelievable. But for me, from an early age, I realised that I wasn't going to do a normal 9-to-5 job. I couldn't do something where I was in the same place every day. So I bought DJ equipment. Was a DJ for a while.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah.
What DJ equipment did you buy? Like, CDJs or vinyl?
Vinyl, but with like all the rope lights and all the square lights that all change colours. So it was proper 80s and 90s.
I was going to say, what kind of DJ were you? Were you someone who was trying to get into clubs, or were you like, oh, and welcome to Johnny's bar mitzvah?
It was like, welcome to Brian's 40th. How's everyone here? The buffet will be open at 9 o'clock, but until then, you've got me coming in your ears.
Oh, no.
Remember this one from Leo Sayer? Get on the floor. All that sort of stuff, and then play 60s music. I was one of them DJs. So I did.
For how long?
Oh, for a while, because what it was is I wanted to find a way of making money where it didn't feel like I was working. So I used to buy cheap sportswear with my sister's boyfriend's card, a wholesaler's card, and then I'd
used to buy.
No, I buy it. So I go in and buy the wholesale. So I had a bit.
Didn't rob it out the back of a lorry.
No, I didn't rob it.
I feel like
you go to a wholesaler, you get it cheap, and you go on the pubs and you sell out the back of your car for a profit. So I'd sell out the back of like Del Boy. So I'd go in the pubs on a Sunday and I'd take my Umbro jumpers in, my sportswear, my socks, my shorts, and I'd go, right, got your shorts here, your Umbro jumpers are 30 quid, it should be 50 quid, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd make myself maybe 100 quid a weekend, and then I'd go back and redo that, and then do a bit of DJing. So I was a bit of a odds bod, but I was just hopefully going to make enough money that keep my mum off my back. Didn't have to get a job until hopefully I landed an acting role, and then Hollyoaks came along, and that was it. But I didn't sit on my ass. I knew I needed to make money because I was on the dole for a little bit, and I made £72 a fortnight, and I thought, I used to give my mum 20 quid of that. £72 a fortnight. So it was one of them, but that's what I'm saying. I really believe if you've got enough going, you can go
hustle,
and get it done.
You'll hustle.
You know, there's people who are going, I can't earn money. It's like, well, you can if you find a way.
You got to hustle.
You got to hustle a bit. And the DJing, I used the money to buy something that would make me more money.
Yeah.
And the DJing, I got to meet people. And
I mean, I was dead. Look, I mean, I'm aware when I say, I only did it for 3 days. Like, I was dead lucky with the timing of. Even the little small jobs I got as a teenager were enough to mean that I never had to actually have to do a real job. We're not talking about thousands, but we're talking about you do an episode of Heartbeat. It's a few £100 when you're 15.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that'll last me a year. That'll last me 18. That'll last me 18 months.
I know.
You know. And so I was lucky that I never had to get a summer job, never had to do whatever, because I basically got one job a year from when I was about 13 on a kid's show or an episode of Corrie or whatever, and that was enough. Yeah. And then I'd done Children's Ward, which was enough, and then I'd done The Royal Family, which I barely got paid anything for.
I did Children's Ward.
But that was enough to tide me over until my career actually started to get going. A good, nearly best part of a year after The Royal Family came out. But in that time, I took 2 real jobs and was like, this sucks.
I think the most embarrassing was when I danced in a shop window.
Yeah, you've told me about this.
And I think doing that was my mum said, I didn't realise how desperate you were not to get a job. Yeah. Was when I realised
you'd rather
dance in a shop window with people walking past and you're giving it the full Hitman and Her.
Bellend, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Bellend.
Right.
Yeah. That was really embarrassing.
Listen, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap this up. I'll tell you what, before we do, we're coming out on tour. Just a reminder, we're out on tour in November. New dates, Colchester, Wolverhampton, Bath, Carlisle and Llandudno.
Yeah. Llandudno.
Thank you. Go to twopintspodcast.com for all the information on sale dates. Thank you for everyone who's been listening. Your main podcast Monday, What William Tell on Wednesday, Swift Half on Friday, Saturday the main pod on YouTube, and you can keep laughing. Please rate, review and subscribe because it helps the algorithm. But we are coming back. We're coming back after the summer. This is not goodbye. Yeah. It's not farewell. It's just a brief goodbye because we have to go and film. So Series 5 has been great. Is there something we can leave people with from Series 5? Something nice to take them through?
We've got a game to play, haven't we?
Oh, don't worry. We're going to play the game. But is there some nice message that we can leave them with for Series 5?
What do you mean, to say thank you for your
to say listening? Thank you, something that we can give people to take them through the summer. I was just thinking about you hustling, just going, even something just like, you can try and make your own opportunities, but that's not necessarily even for work or whatever. But if there's something you want to do, if you've always gone, God, I really fancy, I always wanted to do dance lessons and never did it. Maybe now's the summer to do it.
Well, one thing you have learned, and me and Ralf have spoken about it, is time flies.
Time flies.
I'm 49, mate.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, yesterday I was 25 and feeling like life's
God,
forever.
your maths is still bad, but go on.
Shut up. So all I'm saying is, don't wait. Do it if you can. And if you're not happy, change it. Whatever it is, it's not making you happy. Try and change it.
This is the summer to do it.
Go and
not
do
because
it,
it's a special summer, but because why not now?
Why not now? You know what I mean? Who knows what tomorrow brings? And that's a positive as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might be going through something now, but maybe it might be different tomorrow.
Yeah.
Always believe in something better's around the corner.
Right, we're going to leave everybody with a bit of fun, so let's do this. Just to sign us off. Remember the rules?
Oh, it stinks. This.
Lick the lollipop.
Why have you got something with such a strong smell?
Because you stink. Lick the lollipop, sniff the soap.
What?
Lick the lollipop, sniff the soap.
Oh, it's really strong, Ralf, that. You got a really strong one. Couldn't you got a cheap one? Oh, I had to scrape my tongue last time. It's not funny.
Right, you ready? Are you ready?
No, let me concentrate.
So remember, the lollipop's in the left hand.
No, it's not. Ralf, were you going to say something?
I'm going to say lick or sniff. You ready?
Right.
Right, okay. Sniff, sniff, lick, sniff, sniff, lick, 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 sniff.
I nearly went then. I nearly went. Right.
Okay, so now I'm not going to say lick or sniff. I'm just going to say soap or lolly. You ready? Soap. Soap.
Fuck off!
Right. Soap. Soap.
Oh, shit.
Soap. Soap. Lolly. Lolly. Soap. Lolly. Soap. 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 Soap.
Oh, fuck off! Fucking hell, bastard! Fucking hell. What lavender? You can't win at it. You can't do anything.
No. We just keep going till you hate it.
No.
It's perfect.
No.
Oh.
That's it, that.
Oh.
Dettol on it.
Oh, guys. Thank you for joining us for Series 5. It's been quite a journey. We've come a long way.
No, you can smell your own breath. Don't you do that when you test you got fart breath?
No, I don't.
It smells like Dettol.
I never sit there going...
We all do it.
No, we don't.
Have you ever done it where you go, is that my breath? I can smell it. And you go...
No.
And you try and blow up your own nose.
No.
Mine smells like Dettol.
Right. Well, at least that's an improvement. Thank you for joining us for Series 5. It's been a very fun series, and
we've been here, there, and everywhere.
We will see you after the summer, and remember 2pintspodcast.com for tickets for our tour. Thank you, everybody who's listening.
Thank you so much for all your support. Every time you've listened, watched, subscribed, bought tickets. More importantly, just being a part of this. So I appreciate it. And listen, like Ralf said, anything's possible. Go and grab it, people.
See you after the summer.
See you after the summer. Have a belter. Ta-ra.